When I was 8 years old, during Christmas, I received a brand new red Nintendo 3DS. This was the first game console I ever owned. With it, I got the usual children's Nintendo games like Pokemon, Super Mario, and Animal Crossing. But among the games I got, there was one that stood out to me, Kirby Planet Robobot. This game stood out for two reasons. One, I had no clue what a Kirby was. Two, I love robots. So, of the games I got, this was the first I played. The game opens into a dramatic cutscene. A large spaceship threatens planet Popstar, the home of Kirby and his friends. The spaceship casts a looming shadow over Popstar, blotting out the very sky as it begins to siphon off life from the planet. Several clearly important characters try retaliating against the spaceship, but are met with fierce and swift destruction. As the heroes protecting Popstar fall one by one, our intrepid pink ball awakes from a nap and begins his adventure. This game was one of a kind for me. As a kid who had grown up on Angry Birds and Plants vs. Zombies, I had never played a game that truly took you on an adventure throughout a vast world. And to do so with so many things I love, fantasy, science fiction, and colorful creatures, it was an amazing experience. The music was amazing, the art was beautiful, and the gameplay was engaging. The world had so many unique vistas as well. Patched plains, a cybernetically corrupted grassy area, as a contrast to the typical normal grassy plains at the start of Kirby games. Resolution Road, a city not too dissimilar to Los Angeles, with cars driving down long, winding roads and large, oversized buildings that Kirby needs to trek through. Overload Ocean, a sea filled with industrial rigs, boats, shipping containers, and monsters. Gigabyte Grounds, a desert abounding with piping, technology, and futuristic pyramids. Rhythm Route, a purple and green metropolis with high-tech transportation and buildings. And finally, the Access Arc, the spaceship from which the technological blight derived, with halls which invoke medieval castles and decorations, holographic rooms filled with bright gridded flooring, and alien, geometrically abstract areas invoking the awe and danger of space. Through all these areas, Kirby gets closer and closer to the evil at the center of everything damaging the place he calls home. Once you arrive at the end of the Access Arc, Kirby eventually comes face to face with the dastardly mastermind behind the invasion, Max Prophet Haltman. Ignoring the heavy-handed pun of a name, Haltman is a raging capitalist with the maturity of a toddler and enough money to cover his entire battle mech in gold. His sole aim in trying to destroy the natural beauty of planet Popstar is simply to gain more wealth and power for his company. Clearly, Haltman embodies the negative feeling, or sin, of greed. Haltman is overcome by his materialistic desires, and it is what leads him to his ultimate defeat at the hands of Kirby. Even after an ancient machine called the Star Dream and the Access Arc spaceship fuse to become a giant cat-faced Death Star capable of granting any wish, which then tries and fails to defeat Kirby. There's some subtleties to this whole thing that I'm glossing over, but I digress. It's actually a bit of a trend for Kirby antagonists to serve as typically quite overt allegories for negative feelings. In another Kirby game I played when I was younger, Kirby Triple Deluxe, the primary antagonist is Queen Sectonia, a vainglorious bee with a god complex who lost herself in an endless pursuit of beauty. She abuses her power and her subjects, idolizes herself, and ultimately tries to conquer Popstar for the purpose of instating herself as its new god. This, once again, fails in the face of Kirby's unbridled power, as he defeats her in her bee form, forcing her to fuse with a giant flower called the Dreamstalk and attempt to use its beauty and power in order to defeat Kirby, which, once again, fails. Another example is Magolor from Kirby's Return to Dreamland. Magolor presents himself as a helpful ally to Kirby and his friends, assisting them throughout their adventure through the means of transport, advice, and a suspicious amount of knowledge about the mystical MacGuffin of that game, the Master Crown. However, Once Kirby and his friends defeat the monster guarding the Master Crown, Landia, Magolor reveals his treacherous intentions and steals the Master Crown, becoming a large, malevolent version of himself. After Kirby, like usual, defeats the evildoer, he again, like usual, powers up and merges further with the Master Crown, becoming an even more amalgamated version of himself with little of his normal visage remaining. Yet, like usual, Kirby once again triumphs over the great evil. I hope the pattern with these antagonists has become abundantly clear. They represent some vice or sin, become some amalgamated or otherwise monstrous villain that stands between Kirby and saving Planet Popstar from one of its many perils, and finally fall to Kirby in a grand fashion. So now, after exhaustively covering these antagonists, what's the point? Well, the Kirby games I have played in my life always, no matter what, left me with one key feeling: optimism. And it makes sense why. Kirby, the character you spend the most time with throughout the game, is a very simple creature. He's happy when good things happen, he gets a little sad when bad things happen that he can't control, and he's always determined to do as much as he can to make things better. Kirby is the embodiment of optimism. Optimism is defined by the Merriam-Webster Dictionary as an inclination to put the most favorable construction upon actions and events, or to anticipate the best possible outcome. To break down this definition into layman's terms, optimism is a persistently hopeful and unflinchingly confident perception of all things as the best they can be. This reflects very well onto Kirby and the subconscious philosophy by which he engages with the world, his friends, and his antagonists. Kirby spends every day that he doesn't spend facing eldritch otherworldly threats enjoying his time in the shade, eating cake, and spending time with friends. He enjoys simple engagements like running around with the Waddle Dees, the common folk of Popstar, and going for walks. And ultimately, there's only one Kirby antagonist beyond redemption, only by virtue of its existence as a consciousness-bereft coagulation of pure negative emotions. Finally, this brings us to the themes of the Kirby games. Beyond entertainment and feel-good stories, what else are the games trying to say? They impart the idea that, even when faced with looming threats, entrapping vices, or negative feelings, staying steadfastly optimistic can guide you through the darkness. Whether it's using the tools you have at your disposal, the friends you support and who support you in turn, or by the assistance of people you've helped and your own strength functioning in tandem, we can learn from Kirby's example that staying hopeful and positive while always looking forward towards the future will help you through thick and thin.